Most of us have better education, better jobs, and more opportunities than ever before. But with rising costs, increasing competition, and an uncertain economy that lies ahead, the question is, do we actually have it easier than our parents? Or are we now living in more difficult times? In this video, we will look at different aspects such as housing, living costs, education, job and investment opportunities to find out the answer. Also, do join my Telegram group to discuss or ask any questions that you may have. First off, let's look at the housing prices. Based on the data, the prices for both public and private housing have been on an upward trend from the past till now. For example, a new 4-room HDB which cost less than 200k in the 1990s would easily cost more than 400k today. Not only that, million-dollar HDBs are slowly becoming a norm today, with HDB prices hitting record highs every other day. As we pursue a higher standard of living and better quality of life, the housing costs would have also increased for the current generation. Not only that, our parents who have bought their properties a long time ago would have what big from the rising property prices over the years. So, has housing become unaffordable? To answer this, we can use something called the price-to-income ratio, where it looks at the housing price divided by the homeowner's annual income. The lower the ratio, the more affordable it is. Based on a report by ULI Home Attainability Index, the affordability ratio for Singapore's public housing today is 4.7, which is way lower than other big cities like Shanghai, Hong Kong, Tokyo, Seoul, where the price-to-income ratio are all above 15. As Mr. Lawrence Wong has mentioned, while his parents' house was cheaper in the past, their salaries were also lower. And despite the rising prices of resale HDBs, the median home price to median household income have remained steadily under 4, which means that our salary is going up together with the increase in housing prices. And this does not take into account all the HDB grants that are available, which would have made public housing even more affordable. So while housing has become more expensive for the current generation, the good thing is that public housing still remains quite affordable for most of us today. Next, how about the rising cost of living? If you ask the older generation, they'll be like, everything is so expensive today. In the past, I could eat my favorite mee siam mai ham for less than $2, but today, $5 also not enough. While it may seem like everything is becoming expensive today, the cost has actually become cheaper for the current generation. According to the Household Expenditure Survey 2017-2018, the proportion of household expenditure on transport and food have gone down. Or in other words, the expenditure on needs have gone down over the years. This can also be shown by the decreasing percentage of transport expenditure against household income, which means that transport is getting more and more affordable relative to the increasing income over the years. Also, it was found that the personal savings rates for the current generation are higher than previous generations. Not only that, the current generation would have benefited from the enhancements to the CPF scheme over the years, such as an increase in the CPF salary ceiling and introduction of the CPF Life Annuity Scheme in 2009. All this would mean that the current generation is more likely to be financially prepared for the future, which also puts us on track for comfortable retirement. Quick pause. Did you know that besides Weeboo's awesome deals, Weeboo also has a regular savings plan feature? This is useful for people who's always too busy to invest or sometimes forgets to invest. With Weeboo's regular savings plan, you can now invest automatically over a certain period. To use it, just open up your favorite stock, tap on the 3 dots on the bottom right, then tap on regular savings plan. And you can start investing with as little as $5 or 10 Singapore dollars. Weeboo even lets you deduct the funds directly from your bank account, thereby saving you the hassle of manually transferring the money over. After that, you have the option of automatically investing every trading day all the way to every month. If you are unsure which stocks you should go for, you can head to the regular savings plan page where you will find ETFs which tracks the Dow Jones, S&P 500 or Nasdaq, all of which may be a good starting point for you. Weeboo is currently running a welcome promotion where if you sign up using my link down below, fund any amount and keep the money there for 30 days, you win 10 free shares each worth $3 to $500. Besides that, there's also a Money Boo promotion where you can get up to $3,000 cash vouchers by funding $100,000 or more and fulfilling the requirements. So if you're interested in trying out Weeboo, to sign up to them using my link down below. With that being said, let's get back to the video. In terms of education, our current generation has it better with a higher proportion of degree holders today. According to statistics, in 1990, only 4.5% of Singapore residents were university graduates, and in 2022, this figure has gone all the way up to 53%. Fresh graduates were also reported to have a median starting pay of $4,200 in 2022, which I would say is a pretty comfortable starting point as compared to the amount needed to meet the basic standard of living of $2,906. On top of that, there are more ways than ever to gain knowledge. While learning used to take place in the classroom for our parents, online course providers such as Udemy and Coursera are becoming more popular, and they offer a large variety of courses. And it's not some random courses, yeah. Some of them partner with top universities such as Cambridge and Stanford, as well as leading industry partners such as Google and IBM to offer these courses. Besides that, these courses are also super affordable, and they typically cost less than 1% as compared to a normal degree. With a proper education, this will improve our employment opportunities, increase our chances of getting a stable job, earn more money, and lead a better life. In fact, it was recently reported that 94% of fresh graduates were able to secure employment within 6 months of completing their final exams. Next, the current generation is also better off in terms of having more job opportunities today. In the past, many of them found work as administrators, farmers, and general laborers in the construction industry. But with technology advancement and rise of social media, this has created non-traditional jobs such as influencers, YouTubers, and online businesses. In case you are wondering, these are proper jobs, yeah, and if you are successful, you can even make more money than those who have a traditional job. But even if you don't end up driving fancy cars or stay in big houses, you will still be able to make an honest living. And unlike the traditional office jobs that most of our parents would be familiar with, these jobs offer greater flexibility and allow us to work anytime, anywhere. And with the internet becoming more accessible and widely used today, you can now start an online business easily at a much lower cost without having to set up a physical store. However, it was reported that the current generation experiences higher stress, burns out, and lower mental wellness due to the higher intensity and demand of the workloads. For example, it was reported that 23% of Gen Zs and 30% of millennials have to answer work emails outside of normal working hours at least 5 days a week. Apart from job opportunities, the current generation also has it better in terms of more investment opportunities. For example, if you want to trade stocks in the early 2000s, the minimum commission per trade would easily cost $25. But nowadays, with the rise of online brokerage platforms and robo-advisors, investing has now become a lot cheaper and more accessible. Also, other than the usual fixed deposits, there are now more platforms to park your cash. For example, there's the Singapore Savings Bonds, which started in 2015, money market funds, which became popular in 2022 due to the rise in interest rates, and apps that let you earn a higher return on your cash, such as Bank and GSS Bank. However, while the previous generation may not have as many investment opportunities, the savings rate was actually much higher back then. In fact, the highest ever recorded interest rates back then was 9.5% in 1981, which is quite close to the average return of 10% if you had invested in the S&P 500, except that the risk is much lower. This means that even without investing, the previous generation could enjoy a high return just by parking their money in the bank. So, while the previous generations have it better in terms of higher interest rates, the current generation benefits from having more investment opportunities. Okay, here are my thoughts. Each generation has their own worries. This can be explained by the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, where in the past, our parents' worries were more about physiological needs and safety needs, where they needed to work hard to put food on the table, whereas for the current generation, the needs were more about esteem and self-actualization, such as fulfilling our dreams or to become rich. In a way, our parents used to lead simpler lives with lower expectations, which makes them happier. So maybe if we take a step back and reassess our priorities, we would live a happier life too. Anyway, that's all for this video. Hopefully you found it useful. Like, share and subscribe as I'll be posting new videos every Monday, Wednesday and Friday.